Greetings, good morning from the beautiful San Francisco Bay Area. We are live with 5 Play Friday. Hope everyone is doing fantastically after their Thanksgiving Day feast. Feast? Did you have a feast? Oh, we are well branded this morning. Hey, awesome. Wait a minute. So I'm doing something. What am I doing? What am I doing? Doing something. Hold on a second. Oh, interesting. Okay. How's everyone this morning? Jason Hayes is back in the house. Jason, did you see that case play, you know, that one about the free throw being interrupted by an inadvertent whistle or a timeout request? Somebody did find that in the Facebook group. It's from a couple of years ago, and it had been removed from the case book. But all the information that you got about the play was correct. It is a delayed lane violation. We're talking about a situation where the first of two free throws Player gets the ball at their disposal. Opponent steps in the lane. Officials indicate that is a delayed lane violation, and then either blows their whistle inadvertently, or the team who has the ball at team control there requests a timeout. In both instances, upon resumption of the free throw, by rule, the delayed lane violation carries over. So that is an existing case play that has just been removed. Maybe as we move away from paper case books and more to an electronic format, there'll be less need to remove things from the case book that leaves us all wondering, where did it go? I know there was something here. Let's see. I'm doing something. What am I doing? I am going here. I'm going to add this. Let's make it Montserrat. I'm going to auto start, add, put that puppy up there. Just so that I am aware of what time it is. What time is it? It's time for Play Friday. Okay, all right. I have to go and do a little tech thing here. It's just a second. Ay, ay, ay. Silent. There. Put that there. This will all pay off in the end. Trust me. Get rid of that. Silent. Put that there. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. All right. How's everybody today? Good morning, Chris. How are you? We got a couple of your plays. So live stream viewers, stick around to the end of the show. We're going to have a two-play sequence from a game from South Dakota, a collegiate game, which is super exciting. But that'll only be for the live stream viewers, right? Want to set that up. Darwin Sonata, good morning to you. Go blue, absolutely, until Adam shows up. Jason Mays, Mount Pleasant. Hope you had one as well, Jason. Good morning, Mark Goodman. Steeler fan. Of course, the 49ers looked pretty good yesterday. Not Purdy's best game, but dominance. Dominance. Mike Goodwin is in the house. Good to see you, Mike. Mark Asmussen, home in Chicago. Tremendous. And Billy Mack is in the house. Is the Zooch here? Because we can't get started until Zooch shows up. Yes, they do. So when things are, and this is, of course, the challenge, right? So the guidance is, those points of emphasis we had where, like, the teams, when they come out for the pregame warm-ups, they can't circle their opponents, which was a point of emphasis and never made it into the rules book, never made it into case play. It just was a point of emphasis for 1 year. We're supposed to know that, even new officials who just started this year, are supposed to know, oh, well, there's this old point of emphasis, and we need to apply those to our game. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. It makes no sense, but that's sort of the expectation. So casebook plays that have been removed due to space considerations would still apply. How you're supposed to know that as a new official? I'm a new official. It's my first year, right? I know I've learned all the rules, all the casebook. I feel really confident. What? You're telling me there's another rule I'm supposed to know, or a play scenario, or how to deal with this thing that's unpublished to me? I don't have access to it? Doesn't make any sense. Okay, from the outside, it's a 3. Hanging out in, I assume that's British Columbia. Everybody knows here that my geography understanding is tenuous. $5 word, Billy. Ay, ay, ay. Jason asking, I know that the mechanics manual says anticipation in order to initiate a rotation, right? So what we want to develop is a sense of what the offense is doing and what the defense is doing to try to prevent it, and have that understanding as we officiate the game. That gives us such a big head start. If we know that this team is running, and one of our plays here will have an excessive contact play where a team is running basically a 5-out shell and a post action at the free throw line, which is not going to need rotations, right? So if we know that, or a team is sitting in a zone, it's less. We're going to rotate less as a rule. It doesn't mean we're not going to rotate. But if we have an understanding of what the offense is running, what the defense is doing, etc., then we're way ahead of the game. And then we can anticipate that first of all, like a lot of teams in high school especially, you come down the court, they're going to go to the right. They always go to the right, right? Some teams just have a tendency. So if I'm positioned as the lead opposite that, I can anticipate their first pass is going to be to the right, and then we can, I'll rotate and our crew will be in great position. If a team is throwing a lot of skip passes back and forth, then it's like, well, wait a minute. Do we actually need to rotate? Again, if we understand what the offense is doing, just because the ball settles on the center side of the court, Jason, doesn't mean we have to rotate. If it's a one-on-one matchup over there and the team is not sending other players to, fill that zone with players, we can just simply sit in a closed down position, wait for the next shoe to drop in that setting before initiating rotation. But these are all the things we pregame. If we have advanced knowledge of what a team runs, what they like to do, etc., they're all about skip passes. They shoot a lot of threes, etc. It's going to help us out. If that's what you were asking. Hey, Jason, good to see you. Taking the test. Excellent. Yeah, it's great to just, get our mind working, rules. Oh, yes. Hope that was all helpful. Keith is in the house from Dayton, Ohio, where the lead administers sideline throw-ins below the free throw line. I've been instructed. In 3-person. So Jeffrey Rutledge on Facebook just posted a couple of pages from the officials manual, which is absolutely for sideline throw-ins in 2-person, which is a complete departure from what it was previously. So this NFHS working with Referee Magazine is going to lead to a very editorialized version of the mechanics manual. So it's going to be something that if we're using NFHS mechanics, we're going to have to actually open the book. What? Oh, it's no longer a book unless you got that tome that they, it's $30 plus $25 shipping. I do have the online version. How are the Bucks doing? I'm a little disconnected from what's going on in the NBA. All right, Keith Rock, upstate South Carolina. My son lives in Mount Pleasant. And my grandson. Yes. Kevin Kennedy, good to see you. Fred Thompson in the house. Go Birds. Is that Eagles? We'll see next week. We'll see about that. All right, Billy says, Lindsay Atkinson, the new NFHS rules editor, as long as there are no relevant rule changes or interpretation changes to invalidate such, old vanished interpretations are still officially considered to be valid. She also stated that the usual reason is due to page limitations. When a new case play comes in, one usually comes out, right? So if we're moving away from printed case books, which it sounds like we are, then maybe the need for that will diminish. But, just, all right, it makes no sense for the new official. And how many new officials do we expect to have over the next 10 years? Basically, we have a super aging workforce as it is. And are all of the, 60 plus officials who are officiating now, that take up a considerable portion of the officiating ranks, they're going to be gone. Who's going to replace them? And they're supposed to know a case play from 10 years ago? I find that implausible. All right. British Columbia. FIBA. All right, Jason. Awesome. I got that one right. All right, Al's got a varsity scrimmage going on. Send us live video. And Joe's in the house. All right. Okay. All right. So, here's the deal. My tech team has given me a script to follow. So, welcome to... No, that's not it. All right. So, I'm going to have a few breaks along the way. Just because. So, I want to go here. And I want to go here. Yeah. Like in Blazing Saddles? Darwin, I can appreciate that. Umar on live from someplace far, far away. How are you? Good to see you in the chat. All right. Okay. Okay. All right. One last cup. That looks pretty good. Hey, want to get better? Stick around. Ooh, nice blur. Welcome back to 5 Play Friday, the show where we analyze, get video, and get better as basketball officials. Greetings, everyone. My name is Greg Austin with A Better Official. We craft video to help basketball officials get better, and one of the ways we do that is we look at plays every Friday. And today we're going to get started with, what are we going to get started with? A You Make the Call play. What do you have on this play.
Forsythe beats it. His floater high off the glass and no good. Who's got it is going back to Hoover.
Brown changed that shot just a little bit. Made him shoot a little higher on the glass. Ball tipped out of bounds, goes over to Hoover. The two guys with 4 fouls back in here for Dale for the last 151.
That's a great point. About to go high off the glass as Dale nearly comes away with a turnover. There's going to be a backcourt violation as London's foot was in the backcourt there for a second. So Dale.
London was in the front court, and when he jumped up, caught it, landed with 1 foot in the backcourt. Yep.
That's a tough break there for Hoover, but a nice call there by the ref.
All right, backcourt violation is ruled on the play. What do you have? Is this call correct, incorrect? Put your ruling in the comments below and stick around to the end of the video. We will analyze all of the things on play number 1. But with that, let's move on to play number 2. Except we're not going to move on to play number 2. We're going to look at play number 1. Hold on just a second. That goes there. No, that goes there. Hey, back at the start of the show, on play number 1, we had a backcourt ruling. Let's review all of the things on play number 1.
Forsythe beats it. His floater high off the glass and no good. Who's got it is going back to Hoover.
Brown changed that shot just a little bit. Made him shoot a little higher on the...
All right, so we have a backcourt ruling on this play, right? Backcourt rulings can be tough. One of the keys, though, is we have to have all of the information on a play. If we are potentially distracted, as our center official is on this play, we may not have all of the information we need. And one of the things about backcourt violations is it requires information over a period of time. It's easy if a player steps out of bounds, they are holding the ball and their foot contacts the end line. That's out of bounds. Easy. We don't need to know whether there was team control, what their status was prior to stepping out of bounds, etc. In this instance, we have a player whose status is critical for making the correct ruling on this play. What is the status of the player when they jump and catch the basketball? That's critical because then they subsequently, after catching the ball, land in the backcourt. If they had front court status, then this would be a backcourt violation. In the absence of front court status, this is a legal play. If we watch our player number 5 here, what is their status right now? They are in the back court. By rule, they are contacting the back court. Player jumps. What is their status? They are in the back court by rule. This player is in the back court when they land. What is their status? They are in the back court by rule. There has been no violation on this play. If we look at our calling official, they are craning their neck to see what happened on the play. This is key to the whole equation. We don't have the full picture. We see a player right, if we go back here, if we see the player, when they jump in the air, like if we look at a player right here, it's easy for us to think, oh, that player's in the front court. They jumped from the front court. And that's sort of the situation our calling official is in, right? So in this situation, a great habit and fundamental would be, if this is an obvious backcourt violation, my crew is going to help me get it. I was obviously distracted with the on-ball matchup in the backcourt, and I don't have complete information on the play. In the absence of complete information, what should I do? Should I guess? Right? So this is a legal play by rule. This player jumped from the backcourt, caught the ball in the air, and landed in the backcourt. They could jump from the front court, catch the ball in the air, and land in the front court. What they cannot do is jump from the front court, catch the ball in the air, and land in the backcourt. So this is a legal play by rule. Gives us something to think about in this situation when we know we don't have all of the information. Should we guess? Should we use our intuitive skills to try to put 2 and 2 together on the play? Sometimes we do that on the court, but it's going to put us in a weak position in terms of ensuring that all of our rulings are accurate. So, a great play to look at. And if this is the video content that you find valuable as a basketball official, now would be a great time to do all of the things, including liking the video. You like the video, it helps us with the YouTube algorithm, gets the video in front of more basketball officials, so we can all get better together. I didn't have to put that there. No, I didn't. Oh. Central Florida. Excellent ruling, yes. Right, especially in slow motion, right? This is easy. Right, we also notice that the white bench is like, oh, no. Can we rely on teams, coaches, players to know backcourt rules? No, you cannot. Oh, nobody knows. But it's also a play where, all right, let's say you're the trail official and you know where that player jumped from. What do you do in this situation? Do you just say, hey, my partner made a ruling. I don't want to make them look bad by coming in with information. These are always the challenges that we face. Kevin Kennedy, 3 points. That does not apply. When does 3 points apply? A dribbler from the backcourt to the front court. So if our dribbler here had, straddled the division line, then 3 points applies. A player who catches the basketball, 3 points has nothing to do with it. It is a common misconception and one that leads to inaccurate rulings. So, Well, Jason, that's sort of like, all right, I'm trusting my seed to get this. But if you're the trail, all right, yeah. So first of all, how are we covering this backcourt action as a crew, right? We have the ball enters the center's primary. It's in the center's lap. And what do I like to call this? I call this the center is officiating in the well, right? We're so close to the action that it's really difficult to officiate basketball this close to the play, right? So we're stuck here. And now we've got two defenders, obviously, and now the ball's loose on the floor somewhat, and we're looking down, right, into the well. We have no idea where this player jumped from. None. And that's the problem. And then we guess. It's like, well, my reaction to seeing that player is this. I must have missed something. Yeah, we'll have a throw-in play coming up. Dave, incorrect. Right, so if we want to talk about mechanics as well, who would administer this resulting throw-in? This would be a front court throw-in on the center side of the court. Who should administer that throw-in? The center. It would become the new trail, and the officials would rotate around. At least that's the way it used to be in the officials' manual. Who knows what Referee Magazine has done with it? Yeah. Right, so Chris is pointing out the status of the game. This is a close game, late in the game, and we're guessing on a call, and the guess is incorrect, right? We've done a disservice to the game when we guess on calls, even if we guess correctly, right? Yeah, so new this year, this play would go to the 28-foot line. All backcourt violations will go to one of the 4 throw-in spots in the front court. And that's that. All right. We're not going to overrule, Bradley. We're going to come with information, right? You are the trail. You know that player jumped with backcourt status, and this was a legal play. Your partner has ruled incorrectly on a play. What information can we come in? Hey, partner, when he jumped, he had backcourt status. That's a legal play, right? Declarative statements. Partner, when he jumped, he was backcourt. That's a legal play. We should go inadvertent whistle, right? Simple, declarative. Now, you are the calling official. If you are a good calling official, you say, I will absolutely thank you very much. You have prevented us from making a major mistake in this game. I appreciate that greatly. We're going to go with an inadvertent whistle. Team control to white. Backcourt throw-in? Where would we resume play? Oh, that's awesome. When the whistle is blown. Yeah, we're not going to pick nits on that, right? But that's the way we'd want the conversation to go. If you are the calling official or if you are the non-calling official, come with information in a simple declarative format. Not, I think he might have been maybe, right? Partner, that player jumped from the backcourt. That's a legal play. We need to go inadvertent whistle, right? If you are the receiving official, thank you. Oh my gosh, thank you. Hey, on me, big production, on me. Inadvertent whistle, white ball, boom, and off we go, right? That's how we'd want that to be handled. If you run into partners who are like, no, we're going sticking with my call, and plus, never come over here with information on me again, right? Then you know where that official's coming from. Not to say there are any officials out there who are like that. All right, so I've done. Move on to play number 2. And the audio should be working on the video. I so much apologize for the past of not having the audio on the plays. Should be working. And let's look at play number 2. So often in games, we see players go to the floor hard and the crew does not have a clue necessarily about what happened because they were observing other things at the time. Our lead official does a great job in this scenario of identifying an intentional foul for excessive contact, right? Why? Because they were looking at the play, right? If we're looking at a play, we are so much better as basketball officials, right? We'd want to notice in this situation, are we allowing that center official to handle the shooter action? We're not watching where the shooter is, where the ball is, etc. We're aware that a try has gone up and that we're anticipating rebounding action. We have to find our rebounders as lead. Right? Our lead official does a great job of doing that. We have a hard foul, throw to the floor, and they come in with a ruling of excessive contact, intentional foul, takes care of business at the spot, identifies who our shooter is going to be, right? We need to know that and what's going to happen next. So a lot of great habits and fundamentals on this play. If we're observing this play, right, we notice that either of the other officials, were they aware, right? What's everybody looking at, etc.? Let's take a look at that. Right? So we have a spread offense situation. Try goes up. The center is responsible for that. Our two off-ball officials need to anticipate rebounding action. If we go to here, right, this is obviously a competitive matchup. This is going to be a competitive matchup. We want to be aware of this player crashing as well. All of those things are what we want to look at. And we see the extended arms on the push to the floor, obvious foul, obvious excessive contact. Right? I'm sure those players had been engaged all game long, and so we really want to be aware of what's going on around them. Right? So a great example of officiating rebounding action. If we are observing players in rebounding action, the game gets so much simpler. And so we appreciate that clip. If you want to supply a clip to 5 Play Friday, there is a link on the screen. There is a link in the show description. There is a link in the first pinned comment. And I'll also put one up above. All right, let's move on. No, I'll do that later. Yeah. Zooch. Yeah, we waited and waited and waited. Chris. Cotard? Cottard. Cotard. I'm going Cotard. Cotard. Like guitar. I don't know. Yes. I mean, not necessarily. Would you consider this flagrant? I would not consider this flagrant. It doesn't make my flagrantometer meter go off. There was no, it's a get off of me action that the player wasn't in a vulnerable position. Obviously, they are of course engaged. Our players are engaged with each other. Let's go here with a little arm wrestling. So that's a thing, right? It's not like one player's just standing around and the other player shoves him from behind, right? They had that initial huggage, and then the other player just said, "Get off of me," right? So to me, it doesn't rise to flagrant. And Jason Hayes, yeah. So again, this is the play I was referring to, in that this is a very spread, skip, zone defense situation. We're not going to have a lot of rotations. And if we know that this is what's going on in this game, one team's playing zone, the other team is moving around the perimeter trying to find that open shot, it does not necessitate a lot of rotation. Yeah. What are you doing? Looking at habits and fundamentals of the officials on a play? What's going on, Chris? Yeah, if we watch the actions of the lead during the play while the ball is moving, right? So if we're not going to be rotating in this situation, what are we going to be doing? We're going to be mirroring the ball. We're in a closed down position. The ball comes back out. We move out, right? So often you see lead officials who are just static. They find a spot and they officiate from that spot. If we are officiating players and being ball aware, it's going to reflect in our movement on the court. We're either going to move to mirror the ball and open up our look for a bigger look, for a broader look, or we're going to move because the players in our primary coverage area move, right? If I'm lead here, I'm all about this on-ball matchup or the off-ball matchup at the free throw line. It would be easy, though, for us to be distracted by this rebounding action that occurs right, the engagement by 22 and Gray 25, and like take our eyes off of that. Hey, Tony. Yeah, I mean, so, we have to find something to officiate, and the most competitive matchups are what we need to officiate. And especially in a situation where the center is officiating an airborne shooter attempting a try, anything that's over on the center's primary coverage area is going to be fair game because they're not going to be able to officiate that necessarily. Yeah, that's obviously a thing. It's like these guys have been locking horns in this game probably all game long, right? And we need to be aware of that as a crew and aware of what goes on around them. We also need to identify if we have players who are irritant players or have habits that lead to opponents not being happy with that, let's say, right? We have to be aware of what's going on around those players. We had that play early in 5-Play Friday this season where a player steps on another player, like intentionally steps on them. When I was analyzing the game video from that game, within 15 seconds of the opening tip, that's a player we need to watch, right? It's just like it jumps off. If you identify those players, the football players who don't have a lot of basketball skills, but they are extremely strong and like to use their strength, right? We have to identify those players, and the coach's son players, the ones who do all the crafty, right? I call it chicken shit. Crafty maneuvers, right? On the court, trying to embellish calls, gain an advantage through those means. So we need to be aware of all that stuff. All right, let's move on and look at our next play. All right, a pass crash play with bench decorum issues, right? A point of emphasis here this year, bench decorum. We have many opportunities on this play to address the behavior of the coach and the assistant coach, who are basically disputing the veracity of the calling official's call by going onto the court, gesticulating and hand movements, etc. It goes unaddressed by the crew. This is behavior that needs to be addressed. NFHS says this is a point of emphasis, right? It should be top of mind for all officials on this play. Now, it's a pass crash play. Did the official get the play right? Did the official get the play wrong? Does it affect whether or not we give the coach the ability to come onto the court and gesticulate in a disapproving manner? No. No, it does not. We could have gotten this play extremely wrong. This is behavior that needs to be addressed. That's what jumps off on, and it's easy to address. Coach, you've been warned. I cannot have you on the court. You need to respect your coaching box. We may have mentioned that in our pregame conversation, right? Just simple warning, bench warning, administrative, put it in the book. The coach is on notice, etc. That's what? This behavior is unacceptable. Behavior is unacceptable. It's as simple as that. You can disagree with the call all you want. It's unacceptable behavior and must be addressed. We can do that in one of three fashions. This action by the coach is one that is not going to get the soft warning. At minimum, this is going to be an administrative bench warning for decorum violation. Okay, so now let's look at the play itself. Is this defender legal? Should this be an offensive foul? Do we have embellishment by our defender, which I so often point out? Player drives. That player is legal and was displaced by this player. That is an offensive foul. It should have been ruled as such. It was ruled a block for whichever reason. We decide that the throw-in spot should be on the opposite side, as opposed to, do we designate the spot? Do we take care of business at the spot? Maybe we could improve that. Our non-calling official has an opportunity to address the behavior of the coach and chooses not to, etc. Well, that's interesting. Hey, hold on just a second. Oh. Okay. Interesting. All right. Yeah. Okay. So, regardless of whether the officials get a call correct on the court, bench decorum is a point of emphasis and must be addressed in our game. Sometimes when we know that we may have made an improper ruling, we're going to give the coach, give the offending player, more leeway, as we were maybe unsure of a call, etc. But certain behaviors absolutely need to be addressed, and that is one we have on this play. It's a point of emphasis this year in high school. It's a simple thing to do. And the first step, though, is recognizing this behavior needs to be addressed. And when we do, we're way ahead of the game. Yeah, I don't know if that was addressed at the spot. All right, so Tony, addressing the previous play in Zuch as well, if that try went in, the foul was by a teammate of the player who attempted the try. Was their team control during the try? No, and the try had been released. This would be, we would score the goal. It would have added another layer to the play, but we need to be aware of those things. I'm going here. Yes. Right. So when I'm watching this game, and it's obvious there are opportunities to address this coach being out of the box. And this is not an abusive coach, or he's reasonable and well-mannered, but this behavior, whether he realizes it or not, is not acceptable and needs to be addressed. Does our player commit an illegal dribble on that? Right. We notice the actions of our do I want that? Or do I want, oh, here's what I want. I want that. So our defender on this play, right? Is there a subtle slide to the right? That was an illegal dribble. Legal. Yeah, he's legal. That's just all there is to it. Kelly would have whacked him. Yeah, did he move laterally? He obviously softens in anticipation of the contact. I don't detect a lateral movement. If our offensive player was airborne, that lateral movement would not be legal. No, he's legal. He's legal. I don't know if he berated the officials, Joe. He disagreed with the call. I mean, if he berates the officials, you guys suck. Then I certainly hope we take care of business then. Yes, Keith. Tough in two-person to get that. You know the lead is going to be turning and going here, and is not going to be officiating that. It's away from our new trail. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, easy T, because if we'd had behavior like this previously, we would have already warned. And then this would be an easy T, right? Yeah. I mean, yeah. In watching the game, like I say, this coach had not displayed behavior of being on the court and being out of his box, which was unaddressed, but nothing like this. But David's going T. I know Chip's going T. He's a hard ass. We've got a disagreement by a coach and a gesticulation as he steps onto the court. All right. Who knows? Right, the white line is the volleyball line, right? Very common. It looks like it. Yeah, it's probably a free throw line for baskets going the other direction. We see the 3-point arc on the screen. That's probably it. Okay, got that figured out. Let's look at our next play. All right, these actions by the player who scores the goal rise to the level of a delay of game warning. After the goal is scored, they contact the basketball in a fashion that does that enhance the ability for the throwing team to gain control of the basketball or deter, right? This is what we need to be aware of. We note also that the defense is setting up for a press. These are all factors in us making a determination about whether a delay of game warning is in this instance appropriate. If a player contacts the basketball here, simply contacts it or grabs it as it goes through and releases it, have they committed something that rises to the level of a delay of game warning? In this instance, the action definitely delays the ability for the team to gain control of the basketball for the resulting throw-in and gives an advantage to the defensive team, which is setting up for a press situation, right? This is an easy delay of game warning. It is a team warning for delay. If there had previously been a team warning for delay, this action would rise to the level of a technical foul. A team technical for delay, 2 free throws to any player or eligible substitute, and a division line throw-in opposite the table. But we need to be aware in this instance of whether our player has taken an action which rises to that level. In my judgment, that is exactly what we have on this play. This is something that needs to be addressed, and it's simply addressed with a delay of game warning. Delay of game warning is a big production, right? It's not a, hey, delay of game warning, we casually mention it, right? Everybody knows. Everybody knows. In the book, delay of game warning, White, coach, you have received a delay of game warning. We communicate that in some fashion. Partners, hey, delay of game warning on White. Everybody knows. It's not a subtle thing. Hey, that's a delay of game warning at the spot. No, we need to sort of broadcast, make a production out of it so that everybody knows it's unacceptable behavior, or it's not unacceptable. It just comes with it an action of providing the team with a delay of game warning. It's not a big deal, something we should be very comfortable doing when it is appropriate. There. Go there. Go there. Oh. Yeah, I agree, Jason, on the previous play. Only I can give it. The Gus warning. That's a Gus. That's a Gus. I'll do it in my next game, which will be on Saturday. Oh, good point. Good point. Right, so the team does not lose their privilege to run the end line in this situation simply as a result of a delay of game warning, as well as other things. Yeah, so when I offer my pregame conference with my scorer, I may say, hey, we may have warnings in the game. We may warn a bench, an administrative warning for the bench. We may have a delay of game warning. If you do, just find an appropriate spot, put a timestamp and what kind of warning it is, in the edges of the book as necessary, right? We want to log that information in the book. At 3:23 of the first period, the team was given an administrative warning for bench decorum. At 7:55 of the third period, they were given a delay of game, a team warning for delay. And that way, we have a record of it, right? And again, it is a production. The production is part of the effectiveness of the warning. We don't want a quiet warning where, oh, I've warned the coach, but my partners don't know, and then later in the game, they warn the coach, right? We don't want that. We don't want that. Yeah, I don't see a lot of space in scorebooks these days for notes myself. But with that, let's move on. Let's move on and look at our next play. All right. So a backcourt violation is ruled. What do you have? Legal play, backcourt violation, etc. But what this also brings up is new this year. The administration of throw-ins is a point of emphasis, right? So especially early in the season, do we want to be really good and on point with throw-in situations? One thing that I notice from a lot of officials is the absence of designating the spot, right? Designating the spot is missing from the habits of calling officials. It's just an assumed, I'll call the violation and you'll assume where the spot is. We need to be good, and this is our chance early in the season to be very meticulous and work as a crew to get these things right. So a backcourt violation is ruled. Was this a backcourt violation? Let's look at that, and then let's look at the habits and fundamentals for the resulting throw-in. Do we have the elements to have a backcourt violation on this play? Let's take a look. Well, let's first of all take a look at our lead official in this instance is too close to the court when they are working in this situation. And as a result, they are doing what? They are officiating, like as I like to say, in the well. If you are looking down and officiating down in a spot in front of you, you will miss obvious things. This player obviously travels because we have no perspective on the play. We're not going to be good the closer we get to a play. We need a bigger perspective. Is this a backcourt violation? Do we have team control in the front court? Yes, we have team control on the court, in the front court. Player tries to go between his legs. Does our defender contact the basketball? Not sure completely. I could see us passing on the first action. Ultimately, they do not contact the basketball. This should have been a backcourt violation here. We also have a situation where we have 3 lines at the division line. We have to give ourselves time to process, make sure that we're dealing with the correct line. That's definitely a thing. But we have a player in this instance who picks up the ball. They have front court status. Their teammate has front court status when they contact the basketball and they carry the ball into the backcourt. They have committed a backcourt violation by rule. Now, new this year, we have 4 designated throw-in spots in the front court. A backcourt violation will always be brought in at one of the 4 spots. We need to designate the spot. If we're working as a crew and our partner designates a spot that's not one of the 4 spots, maybe as a crew member, I could say, hey, partner, that's one of the 4. We'll take it here, etc. Right? Or if we're in a crew of 3, hey, that's one of the 4. Let's take it here. But we don't do that. Don't designate the spot. It's under assumption. It's very casual. Is this a substitute? It's 2 players confused. Oh, 1 player seemed to be at the 28-foot line. Yeah. So this play just gives us the opportunity to look at the habits and fundamentals. New this year, front court throw-ins, 4 spots, backcourt violations always result in a throw-in at one of the 4 throw-in spots, because a backcourt violation by rule, even if it was simply a player stepping on the division line, by rule, it's in the rule. It results in a front court throw-in to the opponent. The 4 throw-in spots would come into play. But again, it's a chance for us to examine our habits and fundamentals as we go onto the court. Designate the spot. It makes the game crisper, and it's our responsibility as officials. Chip's addressing the previous play. I would say yes. Yes, we are handling it differently, right? Especially if there's been no warning for delay. Well, all right, but here's the deal. If we're under 10 seconds, Chip, let's just put Chip's comment up. If we're under 10 seconds, the clock is running, and this is super valuable time. We have to address it. I take it all back. We have to address it. The ability for a team to delay when there's 10 seconds, delay the game by 5 seconds, that is in the absence of a delay of game warning, how would we handle that? Would that rise to the level of a technical foul for delay without a delay of game warning? Yes. Is that the one? I would. Would I be supported by rule, or do we have to be under 5 seconds? Yeah, these graphics, Jason, I don't really understand the mechanism for the time on the graphics. The time in this game was always 7 was the first digit for the entire game. But it kept moving. It kept changing. It would go 7:18, 7:11, 7:05, and then it would be back up. So, odd. Agree, Tom. And the problem is the official's not going to see that because they have no perspective. They are too close to the end line on the play. And a lot of times you'll see officials who will work they work close to the end line because they don't want to travel, and they will work close to the division line because that's the distance that they want to travel, as opposed to an official who moves relative to the action. We can always look at our habits and fundamentals and see, are we giving ourselves proper perspective on the play? If we have perspective on plays, we're much better than when we have an absence of perspective, just like our first play, the backcourt violation. Well, here's the deal, Tom. I got great news. You can do it starting in your very next game, right? And in our on-court seminar, available in the link and description, we really emphasize the fact that signaling is done as a sequence. And many officials do not have a coherent sequence that they execute when ruling a violation in the game. Doing so enhances our credibility and our certainty. It enhances the ability of our crew to get things right, and is great habit and fundamentals. And we have a coupon in the show description which reduces the price of that on-court seminar by $30, and that will be available through the end of the month of December. So check that out. It's not for you live stream viewers. I may not make the show. Who knows? Yes, our new throw-in spot. I wonder where Black 10 came from. I wonder if he knew and our officials didn't know. So I try to encourage players that this will always be your throw-in spot. Although in doing so, yeah. I'm not here to pick nits on the officials' demeanor in the game. Yeah, come on, it's a blowout game. It's late in the game. Who amongst us? Well, it's not easy being a coach of high school kids. Yeah. All the habits and fundamentals. Yeah, there is no 28-foot mark marked on this court. I would use, Billy, the, in the front court, I'd use that volleyball. I assume that's a volleyball, a little metal disc on the floor. It's the same on both. That's really close to the 28-foot line. That would be a good reference point. Oh, interesting. Okay, let's look at our next play. All right, I've included this play simply for shot clock states. We've got action in the front court. Things are going on. Loose ball on the court. Ball's batted to the end line. What should the shot clock read in this situation? Right? That's what we have to ask ourselves. Is the shot clock correct? And do we know what number it should be in this situation? This is a very unusual play, but before we're going to inbound the ball in a shot clock state, in any situation, we're going to have to ask ourselves, is the shot clock correct in this situation, right? So fast forward, we have a try for goal. There is no team control. Neither team establishes on the court. And so even though there's, maybe a 10-second expiration of time between when the ball contacted the ring, we need to know there's an absence of team control. As a result, the ball is batted out of bounds. The ball should be given to White here for an end line throw-in, and the shot clock should read, in this instance, 35 seconds, using National Federation of High School Basketball rules. 35 seconds. I think in almost all instances, even if you have a situation, Actually, I don't know the answer to that. Here in California, we have a full reset. Would we reset to the lower number in this situation in your state? Since we have a backcourt throw-in? It's an intriguing question. I don't know the answer. But that's just a play to look at for if you are in a shot clock state. We need to be aware of what the shot clock should read in this situation. It's an unusual play, but that's our job, is to know that kind of stuff. Ooh. If the team retains the ball in the front court, yeah, I think we reset to the lower number. We would in NCAA women's, I think. Come on, I have a game on Saturday. Hey, if this is the video content you find valuable, you know, oh, no, wait a minute, I got work to do. Hold on a second. Hey, hold up. Allow me to thank our tremendous show supporters, Herb Hahn, Joseph Del Colo, Marco Hernandez, Darwin Sonata, and Phil Harmonic. Much appreciated, much love. You want to support the show? You can always buy us a coffee. I'll make sure there's a link down in the show description below. I'll put it in the first pinned comment. And where else? I'll put it up above. Hey, much appreciated and much love. Let's move on now and look at our next play. That was out of sequence.
Coyleton will inbound. He can run the sidelines.
Okay. I screwed that up. Hold on. Oh, I need some sort of, I need to know which play is which, right? So that's going to be the wrap for that. Oh. Thank you. It's obvious I need more coffee. It's 8:15. All right, so we are going to have two plays for live stream viewers only. These are exciting plays, but let me do this. Yeah. Okay, go there. All right. For live stream viewers, two plays, end of game. A big game in North Dakota? Was this last year? It must have been last year. Let's take a look at all of the things on these two plays.
Coyleton will inbound. He can run the sidelines. 3.3 remaining. They're going to have to get it up the court. They don't have an extra timeout to advance. This is it. Inbound. Coyleton goes all the way down with it. Jump ball to Ochan. Johanna Ochan, they're going to say that goes out of bounds, and they maintain possession somehow. Coyleton will inbound. He can run the sidelines.
Through the top.
3.3 remaining. They're going to have to get it up the court. They don't have an extra timeout to advance. This is it. Inbound. Coyleton.
All right, let's look at these plays from North Dakota.
We have a 2.5 second difference from shot clock and game clock. Rosenquist Jr. left side, Pankin defending. Rosenquist Jr. pass to Dieterman. Left wing now, Pankin stays there. Back to Rosenquist Jr. Left wing, 3 seconds, 2, 1. Rosenquist Jr. elbow jumper, it's good! Oh, buddy! Rosenquist Jr. with a big time bucket. And a celebration from the Tigers. They run onto the court. Is that not a technical foul? That should be a tech. The team rushed the court. That has to be a technical, and the officials are talking about it. I'm not sure what there is to discuss. Half of the team ran onto this court. That has to be a technical foul. And now Coach Ty is talking to the officials. I'm not sure what his explanation is, but I'm very certain that I'm so curious to hear what it is. once we talked to him in this post-game show. 3.3 seconds, and Coach Ty is going to use his final full timeout here.
All right, so exciting last-second shot scores. This is a collegiate game. That's important to consider here because in the collegiate game, the clock stops on a scored goal in the final 59.9 seconds, which we have in this situation. It is near the expiration of the shot clock, and so there is a horn that sounds, giving the players on the bench the feeling that, hey, we just won this game. These are all factors on the play. But the fact that the clock stops brings up the question, did this action by the players delay the administration of the game? If this occurred in a high school game, then this would definitely be something that was a technical foul on bench personnel. For collegiate games, this is not necessarily the case. And so in this instance, our crew says this action by the team did not delay the administration of the game. Whether or not there was a timeout requested by White in this situation would be a question. But what we end up with, though, is clock management issues. And were our officials affected by the fact that players were running onto the court and lost track of the clock in this situation? Those would be questions we'd have. Let's look at the play. Player rises up to shoot. Lands, no foul is ruled. Both players go to the floor. Score the goal. If we look at the clock on the screen, does this work? Wait, I want to do this. Does this work? Our clock on the screen when the ball goes through the basket says 2.3. Our clock on the screen says 5.0. But it's obviously lagging, as it also shows, I think, this shot clock number of 3. So we're dealing with all of this information. Is this the official time up here, 2.3, when the ball goes through? Do we have other clocks in the building? I'm certainly assume that we do. We don't have the time of the game above the backboard, making this super challenging. Our center official is emphatically ruling the basket is good. The officials hear the horn. Maybe the officials felt, oh, wait a minute. Let's go back just a second. And watch, there's a timeout requested by White. So there's no rush like in high school because the clock stops. No, White's not. Maybe they didn't have timeouts. No, the graphic says they did. Yeah, I do not know the collegiate rule about how this situation is handled. White went to take the ball out of bounds. So this action by the bench personnel is something that delays the game. Chris, why is this rivalry game played so early in the season? That's weird. Yeah, a lot's going on here. But we end up coming out of this situation with 3.3 on the clock, and that was erroneous, right? So our officials lose track of the time in the game as a crew. That's a really challenging thing at the collegiate level as well, is making sure that the clock stops when the ball goes through the basket in the final 59-9, because we're obviously officiating the game, and we have to take our eyes off of the game and look at the clock and be aware. It can be challenging. There would really be no reason here for our lead not to have that awareness, right? Our trail. Yes, somebody's got to have the clock. No monitor available. NCAA men. That's correct, John. So for those... Right. But Chip, so there's no indication of White requesting a timeout here, and White does grab the ball out of the basket and look to make a throw, or at least take the ball to a throw-in spot. So Thomas says our lead looks like they're giving a request for a timeout. I don't know. I thought he was directing players. But be that as it may, that is how we end up in this situation. They put 3.3 on the clock, which was erroneous. Will that have a bearing on the next play? Let's take a look at the exciting conclusion to the game.
Coyleton will inbound. He can run the sidelines. 3.3 remaining. They're going to have to get it up the court. They don't have an extra timeout to advance. This is it. Inbound. Coyleton goes all the way down with it. Jump ball to Ochan. Johanna Ochan, they're going to say that goes out of bounds, and they maintain possession somehow. And if the Tigers can't foul, there are no timeouts left for the Trojans. Inbound from under the basket by the Trojans here. They need a basket. They got .7. It's going to be a catch and toss-up. Can they get this upset? Pankin into inbound. This reminds me of the Jason Kidd situation, trying to toss it over Yao Ming, even though Rosenquist Jr. is in front of him on the inbound protection. A not near as tall guy, but the shortest guy on the floor, inbounding for the Trojans. Under the basket, where will they go with it? Top of the three-pointer, D.B. Amaka. It's in! D.B. Amaka with the three from the right wing to knock it down. And the Trojans upset the Tigers in the Battle of the Blues. 77-76. Oh, my goodness. .7 and D.B. Amaka.
All right, excitement reigns. All right, so end of game situation. We want to be super aware of all of the things. Again, clock management seems to be an issue in this situation. Let's take a look.
Boylton will
We
inbound.
have
He can run the
3.3
sidelines.
on the clock. We see that.
3.3 remaining. They're going to have.
Wait. Ay, ay, ay. We see 3.3 up here, right? That is our game clock. We see it on the bug down below. That's, not a thing. Let's see, does the clock start properly in this situation?
Boylton will inbound. He can run the sidelines. 3.3 remaining. They're going to have to get it up the court. They don't have an extra timeout to advance. This is it. Inbound.
It has not started.
Boylton goes all the way down.
It starts. Let's watch our lead official when they indicate by raising their hand that the clock should stop. What's the number?
With a jump ball to Ochan.
Right. It's not an emphatic number, emphatic movement.
Goes all the way down with a jump ball to Ochan.
Right. Should have been more. Let's go here. Right? 1.5 is when the hand goes up. We assume the whistle went with it. We don't have awareness as a crew of what the number should be. Who could have that information? Our center or official seems to be officiating the ball going out of bounds as opposed to being aware of the clock. But in the end, we end up with 0.7, and we end up with a coach pulling his hair out because they end up giving the three-point shooter an open look on the play. Just a great combination scenario. We need to have clock awareness in these situations. It's hard, right? The ball is going from one end of the court to the other, etc. But we've got a crew of three. We have to build that into the game. I heard your whistle and glanced at the clock. It said 1.2. It said 1.1. Whatever it said, right? It did not say 0.7. So just a reminder that in these situations, we have a lot going on. It's not an easy thing. That's just the bottom line. It's not easy. But we have responsibilities to get these things right, and having clock awareness is really critical. So a great combination of plays.
Boylton will inbound. He can run the sidelines. 3.3.
Yeah, that should be that. Uh-huh. Well, I think our timer, go to the timer for help. In this situation, our timer was the one getting things wrong. I mean, especially on the scored goal, we'd want timers to be really excellent, and it's not like a complicated thing for them. The ball goes through the basket, stop the clock, and they let it run for a good 2 or 3 seconds afterward, putting the officials in a position where they had to come up with a number. Hey, Michael, good to see you in the chat. Yeah, especially at end of game. Now, in high school, is this a point of emphasis? End of game protocol, right? When they say end of game protocol, I mean, that's all well and good. Handling end of game situations should always be our highest priority, right? Because the decisions, the accuracy of our rulings, of our awareness, of our clocks, of the things that, when it is appropriate, like there's a no call on that shot at the last second shot. I'm very comfortable with that. Very comfortable. Yeah, it's always the baseball team. They got the flat brim caps on and what have you. I mean, for the most part, they do well. I mean, I'm not here to throw our student athletes filling in those roles under the bus. But it doesn't hurt for us to go to the table in an end of game situation and say, hey, right, let's be really, really good here. Let's give it high, concentration, etc. Just bring the importance of the situation. Because people at the table, are they fans of the teams involved or one of the teams involved? Yeah, they may be excited by the moment, right? We just want to rein them in and say, hey, we're still officiating. We're a crew. We want to be great. We've done great to this point. I'll usually tell my table, hey, we've done a fantastic job tonight. We have to be great here at the very end. This is what we're going to be remembered for. Just to enhance the, let's be really super sharp in this situation. Sleeping instead of 5-play Friday. Priorities, man. Priorities. Well, White would have used their timeout to, after the players ran on the court, etc., to set up their play at the end. And our graphic on the screen does reflect that they have used their final timeout. Dakota State and Dakota Wesleyan. End of game. Yeah, Kamali, end of game. Yeah, it's really what it's all about. You got a close game, your end of game, what you do at the very end is critical. It's always great when, like in this instance, despite all the things that have occurred previously, this player hits the shot at the end. Everybody in the gymnasium, well, mostly everybody, is happy. It's a great natural conclusion to the game. If they miss this, the energy is much different, etc. But how, no. How we handle end of game is really what we want to develop all of our skills towards being excellent at the end of the game. It's the things that happen in the first 30 minutes, 31 minutes, 31 minute and 30 seconds in a high school game. Everybody remembers the stuff that happens at the end, and we just want to be excellent and know the rules applications, be excellent with our habits, with all of the things, right? The designating of the spot, being accurate, getting things correct, having the timing, the awareness, etc. It all comes together in the final seconds of a game, right? And that's what we want to gear towards. Thanks, Chris, for providing those exciting plays. Whew. All right, Jason, take care. I'm wrapping it up. I've gone long. Why? Because it's kind of a holiday. I do have a client calling me about a job they have scheduled today, so. Oh, I see. Hey, thanks for that. It's like, it seems like, get great attendance and excitement. Oh, our visitor cheerleaders are not happy in this end of game situation. They are sad tromboning it. Hey, so one of the things I would do is here, before I administer this throw-in as trail, I'm backing those cheerleaders up because this player may want to run along the end line. And we don't want cheerleaders in the way of the official, moves to get out of the way, etc. I'm also bouncing the ball to the thrower so that I can give them the entire area to move. Again, these are the things that we want to do at the end of the game. All right. I appreciate everybody joining today for 5-Play Friday. How did I do? I'll get a full tongue lashing. I may from my tech team afterward. Yeah, I got disconnected. But at least I have I have a show flow developed. All right, I'm going to finish up. I'm going to do some end of game stuff here after the fact, but I will say goodbye to everybody. Hope you have great games over the weekend. I'm sure just about everybody has games. And yeah, let's be really good in our end of game situations. And yeah, make it a great one, everybody. We'll talk to you next time. Take care.